Hey Brian, and welcome back to my art studio. My name is Charlotta if you're new here, and in this video, as the title already shows, I'm gonna share with you some simple techniques how to draw realistic hands. I'm also gonna share 5 of the most common mistakes that I've noticed in my art classes. And then I will move on to sharing some of the simple techniques that I learned in art school. And it is actually easier than you would think once you get to know these little tricks and how to sketch up the hand and find the basic shapes and also think about the anatomy in your hands. So yes, without further ado. Right, so I will start with sharing 5 common mistakes that we do when drawing a hand as beginners. So first mistake, making the palm of the hand into a circle. Second mistake is making the arm straight. Third mistake is starting the fingers at the same line. Fourth mistake is the thumb is sticking out straight like that. If you look at your hand, there's more of an angle here. A common mistake when beginners draw nails is they draw this base of the nail straight and then a semicircle like that. Most of us have 2 hands, so we always have a reference to drawing a hand around us. So looking at what your hand actually looks like, or you can even take a photo and printing that photo, depending on the pose that you want on your hand and how you want your picture to look. If you just want it from straight above, if you look at this hand compared to that one, it does not look very realistic. Moving onwards to how to improve this drawing is simply like this, and it's actually quite easy once you get used to looking for these typical shapes first. So when you look at the hand, as mentioned, you have this kind of shape here. So it goes a little bit like angled like this, and it goes a little bit upwards towards the index finger. If you see this over here, maybe not that much, a little bit less, like that, a little bit angled up like that. And then we got the wrist, which is over here, the bending part. And then the arm starts and it goes a little bit out like that. Now the thumb here has a little bit of a triangle shape first, which is the bone. And then if you think about the anatomy and the bones inside your hand, it will help you understand the movements of the fingers. So this thumb over here first has one part over there and then a second part over here. And it sticks pretty straight out like that. 1, 2. And then we have the fingers, and if you measure your long finger compared to your palm, it's roughly the same length. So measuring this part to make it realistic, make the long finger up to here. The small finger is obviously the shortest one. Goes up to here roughly. Then we got your Peter pointer, your index finger, and your ring finger. And this one is a little bit angled as well, so it goes out a little bit. So the pointy finger over here, I think I need to put the middle finger a little bit further there, and then we got the ring finger over here. And again we got 1, 2 joints which you both can bend, and then we got the knuckles over here. So the knuckles, roughly like that. Then we got the joints over here in the middle, and then we just sketch up the finger like that. We got the second joint up here, So already this hand is looking much more realistic than the first one. So now if we are to fill in this line over here, I'll just make it a bit stronger. This one bends over here, got the thumb, and then usually we have it from the side, so this part is quite straight. Then we got the joint, and then it's quite straight down, angled like that. We got a bone over here as well, so maybe a little bit like that. And then you can erase the guidelines. So mistake number one was the circle. Here we had this kind of shape. Then we had the straight arm, mistake number two. Here is going out a little bit wider towards the arm. The wrist is a little bit thinner. Mistake number three. We got the straight line over here, and here it's a little bit more angled. So this one comes down a little bit, and this one is a little bit higher up. The next one was the fingers sticking out like that. Here you got a little bit of a triangle shape. And then we have the nails. Now here I said a common mistake is the straight line and then a semicircle. I often draw it the other way around. So if you see that this is more round, and then usually I make the nails quite straight off instead. So round and then straight. Round, straight. Round and straight. Round and straight like that. And this one is a tiny bit from the side. And then if you look at your thumb, it's more straight on the top, and then it's a little bit bumpy on the inside. So you can make a little bit of a shadow inside the joints as well. And just define the lines a bit more. Now obviously this is the easiest hand pose to draw when the fingers are just straight out. But when you think about the anatomy of the fingers and of the hand, and you remember these shapes, this little almost like a square here in the middle, then you can start building up your hand from different angles. And I'm gonna show you that in a minute. Now let's take a different paper. And let's look at the hand from the inside. So again, we make the same shape, a little bit upwards, angled down like that. And then the arm, the wrist is over here. Then we got the thumb angled like this, little triangle here, and then 1 and 2. And then we have the fingers. Let's measure that one up to here, middle finger, index, ring, and the little baby finger over there. And now we got 1, 2, 3 parts over here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. One, two, and 3, and the last one over here, like that. Now, something that we studied a lot in art school was the skeleton and the muscles to understand the movements of the hand and the whole body. So we spoke about these muscles here inside the hand as well. So we got one big over here and another one that's quite big over here. So whenever you draw a hand, those muscles will be showing depending on what angle you're drawing from. But these ones will define your thumb and the inner palm over here. Then we got small little bumps over here as well, where the joints are. So now if we combine these lines with that muscle, the thumb, can erase the guidelines. define the fingers a little bit more to make it look more realistic. We got the joints over here. A nail, and then again we got some lines inside the palm, some shadows. There's one line over here, then we got another line over here. Now here's a fairly realistic drawing of the inside of your palm. Obviously if you're making an artwork you will put some more time to it. Now I'm just quickly showing you the idea of how to draw a realistic hand. That's the basic pose, so from the top and from the inside of the palm. Usually you won't just draw a straight hand like that. You might be holding something like a pencil. I think we could draw that over here. So picturing it maybe a little bit like that. So now if I hold my hand in this, my own hand will be the reference. And again, I'm thinking about the shapes that we spoke about and the muscles inside the palm. So first we have the square here, and now it's from the side. So it's not really an accurate square, but let's just put it out like that. Then we got the knuckles over here, and that's where the fingers will begin. The square will continue there in the background a little bit. So we got the back side. So over here we can see this little knuckle over there as well. And then out of this little square, as we said over here, this square where the thumb comes out from the side, it will be a little triangle. This little triangle over here, thumb will stick out from there roughly, and then it's gonna go down like this, and then the arm going a bit wider. So always check on your hand, on your reference photo or on your hand, where the next finger is compared to the one you're drawing. So we got a joint over here, and now the finger, the back side of the finger is more straight. And then on this side we have these bumps where the joints are. So you go one bump over here, one bump over here, and then one last for the tip of the finger. Now depending on how much you bend your finger, if I bend it like this, you can see that these bumps are very strong and these lines are very strong. But the more you stretch it out, the less these bumps will appear. So just a little bit of a shape like that, and this side fairly straight. So here's the joint, and then down. Now let's look at the finger. Compared to this finger, the thumb finishes roughly over here. And then we got the round side, and the nail is on this side. So round and straight like that. So it's round and straight. So the back side of the thumb and the joint, let's see, it's a bit like that. So here it's the bending part, the joint, and then then it just goes together with this little square here. Now this is just 2 of the 5 fingers, so we still need to make the middle finger, which is sticking out. Now I'm looking at this little shape over here, which is a little bit like a triangle, and it starts roughly in the middle over there, and it finishes before the thumb, so it's roughly around there. Then one bump and another bump, and then it disappears there underneath the other finger. So always compare this kind of empty spaces here between the index finger and the thumb, and now the next finger is leaning towards the long finger. The ring finger is just behind it here, so I can see a little bit of the nail, but it's touching the thumb. And then we got one bump a little bit further behind than that one, and another one like that, and then it disappears again. And now I'm looking at the space between my ring finger and my little finger, and it's starting from this line, and then I see the nail coming up over here. So my little finger is bent a little bit, and I can see both joints like this, and then it goes in like that. And this line is a little bit more like that. Okay, so now I will start by erasing the guidelines and defining the finish lines. Now, depending on what kind of drawing you're making, if you're using just a pencil or if you're using ink or maybe you're painting your hand, you can leave the sketch just like this, or if you're just making a pencil drawing, then you can add a little bit of shading to help the viewer understand the shape and the movements of your hand. So let's say the light comes from here, so I'm adding a little bit of shade here. There's the joints. And this was something that we would study in art school for weeks. Not only hands, but the whole body. So we're drawing skeletons and drawing all the muscles. And I feel like once you learn this properly, it sticks with you. And I think practicing to draw hands will help you become a better drawer, because it is quite challenging to draw hands and also ears. That's another thing that our teachers would ask us to do in art school, was to study the shapes of ears and how to draw realistic ears. So yes, use a reference, remember the muscles and the movements of the fingers. If it's easier, print a photo of your own hand, or choose a photo that you might find online. And that is a few different ways of drawing a realistic hand. I hope that you got some clarity out of this video and that it helps you to draw realistic hands. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe and also leave a comment below and let me know what you thought. Was this helpful? Is it still too tricky? Keep practicing, you'll get there. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end, and I will see you in the next video. Ha det bra!